Good morning, students. Once again, we are here with you. Another topic of history and civics. Chapter number 3 is going on, and we are going to discuss today chapter topic with you achievements and contribution of early nationalists. And as I told you in the starting of the chapter, that three leaders are there whose contribution we have to discuss. And first one is Dadabhai Naroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and S.N. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee. These three persons' contribution we are going to discuss. With this, we'll discuss about the achievements and criticism of early nationalists. So, students, we are going to discuss the chapter. Before that, I would like to tell that question answers from civics and history will be in the same copy. First half you can use for history and second half you can use for civics. So, let's start the topic today. So, first topic is achievements of the early nationalists. So, we have discussed their methods, we have discussed their beliefs. Now, we are going to discuss whatever was the achievement achieved by the Britishers. So, if we are discussing about early nationalists, then we can say so that these were the leaders who made Indian conscious about their rights, or they developed that thoughts in the Indians of economical and political as well as cultural interest of Indians in India, as well as social reformers, especially Dayanand Saraswati gave the slogan that India is for Indians. So after that, these early nationalists were also thinking about that cultural bondage between that or among the Indians, and with that political as well as economical interest of that Indians should be protected. That was the only motto of early nationalists. So first one was there that they were working for the interest, which interest? Political interest as well as economical interest and cultural interest of Indians, and they were willing to unite all of the Indians. So second point we are going to discuss that they were educating Indians about the political rights. They were telling them about the democracy. They were willing to tell about the liberty. They were willing to tell about secularism. They were willing to tell about nationalism, which were the new words for Indians, because Indians were not aware about these words, because they were not knowing such kind of feelings, such kind of thoughts. They were not knowing. And what is democracy, what is liberty, what is secularism, what is nationalism. Still, they were unknown with these terms. So, with the help of newspapers, with the help of meetings, with the help of conversations, that early nationalists were making them aware. So, it was another achievement of early nationalists. So, next one, we are going to discuss that they did work against that British imperialism. Means they were keeping their demands in front of the Britishers. Means indirectly they went against the British imperialism, or they want that home rule, just like Australia, just like Canada. It means that they were thinking somewhere else about the betterment of Indians, or we can say so that they have given the foundation to that voice against that British rule in India, either in polite or moderate way, but they have keep the foundation, or they prepare the foundation for the assertive nationalists in India. So some more topics we can discuss, or some more points we can discuss which were there, really achievement of these early nationalists. So first point which I am going to discuss with you, that is Public Service Commission in 1886 was appointed by the Britishers by the demand of early nationalists. Second one, that ICS examination, which were going to be held in India and England consecutively. Now it was being held in both places after 1893. So it was another achievement. So next one, we are going to discuss about Welby Commission. Sorry, Welby Commission, which was established in 1895, and it was also a landmark, or we can say achievement of early nationalists, that first time that in India commission was appointed for the expenditure and income which is being done in India, and it will keep in mind that which kind of expenditure is being done and whatever the improvements may be there. So the next point I am going to discuss that Indian Councils Act. It was 1892. It was also the result of early nationalists. Means their work and their efforts made it possible. The Indian Council Act. So every coin is having two faces, as well as appreciation we have done whatever they have made, and now we can criticize that why they were failed. So first one, if I am discussing, then they were not having adequate method, or we can say so their methods were inadequate, just like petitions, prayers. These were not enough to made Britishers believe that Indians are really need their help, or Britishers were not interested. So that's why these methods were not so much helpful to relay Britishers that Indians should get that better treatment. So first thing is there that the methods, petitions, prayers, these were not enough for making Britishers aware about Indian rights or Indian civil rights. So next point that they also failed. They also failed to realize the British and Indian interest. Means they were thinking so that Britishers are well and good and they are working for the betterment for India, but they forgot at the same time that Britishers' main motive is there to exploit India economically, and for that they can do anything else. We have discussed about drain theory of Dadabhai Naoroji. We will discuss further in this chapter. So their main motive was there to drain the wealth from India by different means. They were not here to develop the Indian interest. They were here to develop for British interest. So here also they were failed because they were thinking so that Britishers are well and good and they can improvise India, while it was only a illusion of early nationalists. So now I am going to discuss the third point, that masses were not there. Masses means common people were not involved. These petitions, prayers and protest, these were there only by the educated persons, in which I have already discussed, the lawyers, the doctors, teachers, officials. These persons who were sitting in the armchairs and they were writing petitions and forgetting about that one. So common people were not knowing that what the things are going on or what these persons are doing. So it was that most important drawback, that masses were not involved in the movement by early nationalists. Only few persons, or we can say selected persons, were doing that one, and no one knows that what the things are going on and what the progress is going on in the movement. So these were there the criticism of in early nationalists. So now I would like to discuss something. This topic is not related with that syllabus of that chapter, but I would like to discuss something that is given in the book, official attitude towards that Congress. So after that formation of Indian National Congress in 1885, that Britishers were willing to make it as a tool or use it as a tool, and especially the Viceroy at that time, Lord Dufferin, he was willing to use that Congress as its own tool, and that's why Lord Dufferin has given the garden party in his garden in Kolkata in 1886, and the governor of Chennai also in 1887. So these why they have did so, because they want to make Congress as a puppet, and they want that Congress should go for social matters, not for political matters. So political awareness should not be there in that people, and politically they should not go for that betterment, or political rights should not be known by the common people, and Congress should not fight for that one. But whenever that Congress leaders denied to do like this, then there was a dispute between the Congress as well as officials. So what happened, that Lord Dufferin declared that Congress is a microscopic minority of the people, and British officials criticized the National Congress as that disloyal baboos and violent villains. So after that, they ban on that babus and government employees to join the meetings of Congress. So this was only for information, whatever the impact of this Indian National Congress, and how that British government reacted on that formation of Indian National Congress. So afterwards, that Congress and British government both were against each other. That was not the topic. Today we are going to discuss some more topics. So let us start. We are going to discuss about Dadabhai Naroji, the grand old man of India, and he was the only person who was known as India's unofficial ambassador, and he was working for the betterment of India outside the India, and he formed first London India Society, and he collaborated with W.C. Banerjee or Vyomkesh Chand Banerjee, and he also kept the grievances of Indians uh, in front of the Britishers, and he also worked for the betterment of country by his efforts. Only in 1893 that exams of Indian civil services were held as India and England simultaneously. So this was the achievement of Dadabhai Naroji, and he also worked for betterment of Indians, and he founded East India Association in 1866, as we have discussed before, and many other branches in Kolkata, Mumbai, and Chennai he established, and he united the Indians inside the India and outside the India, both places. So next move for his role in Congress. So he was a prominent personality, and he worked for the betterment of Congress. That's why he was elected three times in 1886, 1893, as 1906 the president of Indian National Congress. And as the president of Indian National Congress, he support that boycott Swadeshi and national education. Through this, that Indians can achieve their goal. And what was their goal? According to Dadabhai Naroji, that he want that self rule should be there, as United Kingdom and its colonies, it is already going on, as I have discussed about Australia and Canada. So many other colonies of UK was having the self rule, and they were under control of Britishers. So this was that main uh, concept of Dadabhai Naroji, which he worked through his lifetime. So next point I am going to discuss about economic ills of India. He exposed Britishers about their economic ills in India. So he said that colonialism or exploitation of Indians is the main evil of British government in India. So he himself criticized British government economic policies by his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, in which he has explained that how the wealth of India is going abroad from India to Britain by the taxes, by the salaries, and by that exports and imports. In many ways, that Indian wealth was being drained to Britain. So he worked for the betterment of Indians, and in 1917 he passed away, and on his death, that C.Y. Chintamani has rightly said that public life of India had been adorned by a galaxy of brilliant intellects and selfless patriots, but there has been in our time none comparable with Dadabhai Naroji. So he was one of the best Indian early nationalists who prepared India for future national movement. So now we are going towards next personality, and we are going to discuss about Gopal Krishna Gokhale. He was the most important or most prominent Indian nationalist He is also known as that political mentor of Mahatma Gandhi. Whenever Mahatma Gandhi came back to India in 1915, that Gopal Krishna Gokhale died, and that benefit or that platform which Gokhale was being used before that one, that credit goes to Mahatma Gandhi. So we can say so that he established Mahatma Gandhi in India, and he was his political mentor. And more than this, we can say so that he is also known as CIE, or Companion of Indian Empire. He was also in favor of that Welby Commission, and he is also well known for Deccan Society, which was established by Mahadev Govind Ranade. He was the active member of the society, and he also said that the goal of Congress should be that attainment of a form government similar to that which existed in that self-governing colonies of British Empire. So these were the things about Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Uh, so he also presided Indian National Congress in 1905. Now I am going to discuss about contribution of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So Gopal Krishna Gokhale was a very prominent and very strong leader of Indian National Congress, and he favored that by constitutional way we can achieve the goals, or as all the nationalists were believing that Britishers are well and good, only that need is there to tell them what to do, and they will do for Indians. So first thing which I am going to discuss in this topic, that is he was against that huge expenditure which was being done by Britishers on the army, and that money was coming from the tax of Indians. So Indian tax was used for British army or wars, but was not being used for development in India. So we are going to discuss now next point, that he was against that racial as well as uh, discrimination in that economic point of view. For example, that appointments and high posts were given to Britishers or Europeans. Indians were not getting that one. So this was also that matter which he criticized with the British government. And he also was against that tax on the cotton, so that the tax cotton was being very costly, and Indian weavers cannot purchase the cotton for weaving that cotton clothes, and in which way or in this way that cotton was being sent to Britain. So with this he played important role in Minto Morley reforms, and he also played very important role as a member of Public Service Commission. And one more thing, that when he visited to England, he tried to persuade British statesmen that they should think about Indian poor condition and civil and political rights of Indians. So now we are going to discuss about Servants of India Society, which was established by him in 1905, and other members of the society was Hridayanath Kunjru and Srinivas Shastri. These were also well-known Indian nationalists. And what was the aim and objective of the society? He established the society that who are willing to dedicate themselves for the country, for the motherland, they can be the member of the society. And what is the objective of the society? That to unite Indians and to aware them over their political consciousness or their civil rights. So now we are going to discuss his role as a member of Legislative Council, whatever he has did. So he worked for the betterment of primary education. So he tried that all that Indian children who are studying in primary schools, they should get compulsory education and free education, and there should be no discrimination in that primary education. All should get, or it should be compulsory, it should be free education for every person who is that person should get the primary education. Second thing, that he also demanded that fiscal policy, or that whatever that money or tax which is taken by Indians is not being spent on Indians. So that should be spent on Indians. And better job opportunities for the middle class. He demanded as a member that Indians should get that better job opportunity so that they can be prosperous. And with this, he was also against that huge land revenue which was taken by the government from poor farmers. And with this, he also opposed that toll tax. And he also worked for the betterment of Indians. He also in favor of abolition of excise duty on the cotton goods, so that product should be cheaper and people can uh, purchase those goods. So these were that main points on which these three early nationalists focused. So now we are going to discuss the next one. Now it's the time to discuss about S.N. Banerjee or Surendranath Banerjee, who was one of the most prominent early nationalists. And his famous saying was there that opposition were necessary and cooperation were possible. So he was not against Britishers, but he was a strong believer that Indians should get their rights, either their political rights, their economical rights, or the civil rights. So for betterment of Indians, he worked throughout his life. His career was started as a professor of English at the Metropolitan College, and he was elected as a member of Kolkata Corporation. And we can say so that he remained that president of Indian National Congress also two times. But before this, we are going to discuss about his achievement. So he established Indian Association in 1876. It was its own type first organization which was working for betterment of Indians, and this organization was having the main motive to educate Indians about their political, economical, and civil rights, and to make them aware about their rights, and to keep the strong opinion against that government or in front of the government about the Indians. So it was a great achievement, establishment of East Indian. So establishment of this one, Indian Association. So next we are going to discuss. He also created All India Political Organization, and that organization was the Indian National Conference, which was very popular in Bengal, and most of the youth from universities were the member of this organization, which was established in 1883. And S.N. Banerjee made this organization very popular, and it was working parallel with Congress till 1886. And whenever he became whenever this organization became very popular, and objectives of Congress and conference was same, so he decided to merge this conference into Congress. So in 1886 he merged Indian National Conference into Indian National Congress, because that both that organization was having the same aims and objectives, and unity is better than division. So that's why he merged this Indian National Conference to Indian National Congress. And he was the president of Congress two times, 1895 and 1902. So he worked for the betterment of India throughout his life, and his whole life was devoted for Indians. So now we are going to discuss that last point, his political ideas. So if you are discussing about political ideas, so this was same as it was in case of Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Dadabhai Naoroji. So they were believing that Indians should get their rights, and he has wrote about this in his book, that Nation in the Making. And he gave an account his political concern and his views about self-government in his book, and the book was Nation in the Making. So this book was very popular, and through his book he make people aware about the political rights, their civil rights and economical rights. So with this, one more thing is there, that he was in favor of ICS examination should be held in India, that age limit should be reduced, Vernacular Press Act should be repealed, Arms Act, License Act was criticized by S.N. Banerjee, and Minto Morley reforms was criticized by S.N. Banerjee. And one more, that he opposed that Bengal division in 1905, which was done by Lord Curzon, and he breathed last in 1925 as a great Indian nationalist. So students, this was the topic, or these were that famous Indian nationalists. Now we are going to discuss that question answers. So here in your book, total 16 short answers are there. So you can leave 4 answers which you want to leave, but all the answers you should know. For writing that answer in copy, you can leave 4 answers, but answer whatever is there, all answers should come to you, because board is not having any foundation. So 4 answers you can leave, which when you are writing in your copy. And now a structured question, question number 1 and question number 3 and question number uh, this one, third, picture study. These 3 questions you have to complete, 1, 3 and picture study. So these are that question answers to complete in your fair notebook. I hope you will complete it. So till then, stay home, stay safe. Have a nice day.